Being a parent isn't necessarily an easy job, and more often than not we are learning on the job, and when we feel like we've got it figured out with one child, another child comes along and they're completely different and we have to work it all out again. And we're also at different stages in our life. We learn from our mistakes, and we do unfortunately make some mistakes when raising our children. However, most healthy parents, most genuine parents have the empathy to care for their children. They might have certain beliefs and certain values, however, they have that underlying empathy to care. When it comes to narcissistic mothers, they are characterised with that lack of empathy, with a sense of self-importance, with a need for attention, with a willingness to exploit people, and that sense of entitlement to get their needs met. So when it comes to their children are often either seen as a competition to the narcissistic mother or an extension of the narcissistic mother. So their children either have to please the narcissistic mother or be completely belittled and criticised. So this video is going to be a few of the most shocking habits of a narcissistic mother. And one of those is their emotional manipulation, where they're going to emotionally manipulate their children into fulfilling the parents, the narcissistic mother's needs. They use things such as guilt and shame and fear and love to bargain with their children, to get their needs met by their children. They will say, if you loved me, you would do this, or after all I've done for you, to get their children to serve them. Adult narcissistic parents can invite their children over, and when their children have plans and say no, the parent will then guilt them and say, oh, but I'm all on my own. What am I going to do? To get their children to feel sorry for them. Narcissistic mothers will go all out to gaslight their children by invalidating their children's emotions, to exploit their children, to get their needs met by their children. And this often leaves their children feeling very unheard, confused, and emotionally drained. Another thing is their constant criticism. Yes, we can have parents who offer that constructive feedback to try and support their child. And it's very confusing with a narcissistic parent. They will give you that feedback, they'll give you the unhelpful feedback, and then when it doesn't work out for you, they'll turn around and claim that they were only trying to help. It was for your own good, when they were actually covertly sabotaging you. So it's very confusing, because a genuine parent can do something believing it's for the benefit of their child, and then later on learning that actually it possibly wasn't for the benefit of the child, even though they thought it was at the time. But one of the hallmarks of a narcissistic mother is that persistent criticism towards their children, where they are constantly going to put down their children's appearance, their children's achievements, their children's personal choices. They're going to belittle their children, they're going to demean, they're going to diminish, they're going to mock, they're going to tear down their children's self-esteem, tear down their children's confidence. Also that the narcissistic mother can reign superior over their children. They're going to frequently demean their children. They're going to constantly make negative remarks towards their children, which is going to erode their children's self-confidence, leading to long-lasting scars within a child, feelings of inadequacy, fear of doing something in case they get it wrong. A lack of empathy is another one, where a narcissistic mother has very limited to no compassion towards the child's emotional well-being, to the child's experiences, to the child's struggles. Now, as a parent, we can all experience a moment where a child trips and falls and we say, come on, jump up, it's not that bad. And it's not meant to gaslight the child's experience. We've sort of been taught as a society to kind of toughen them up, especially when it comes to young boys. However, with a narcissistic mother, you can go and speak to them about something that's happened with a friend, and the narcissistic mother just simply isn't interested in this. They'll accuse you of overthinking things, of overreacting, of being too sensitive, of being insecure, and then they'll bring it back onto talking about themselves because they're not interested in listening to their children. They will diminish and ignore any of their children's distress. They will minimize achievements or take credit and boast about the achievement and say that their child wouldn't have been able to do that if it wasn't for the narcissistic parent, or claim that the narcissistic parent hasn't managed to achieve because the child was a burden and got in the way. They refuse to give genuine compliments and genuine praise, and these often lead to feelings of neglect and feeling misunderstood within the child. Narcissistic mothers can be incredibly competitive when it comes to their children. Again, they either view their children as rivals or as an extension of themselves. So they will undermine their own children so that the narcissists themselves can feel superior. They will highlight their own achievements to pull down the narcissist child's achievements. They will twist the child's success in some way as to how it was the narcissistic parent's doing. It was the narcissistic parent behind that success. They are incredibly jealous and resentful of their own children, which is often why they are usually full of criticism towards their children. Anything they're envious of about their children, they go all out to find a way to chip away at their children's self-esteem, to bring them crashing down, as they see them as a competition. If the child's getting any form of attention from somebody else, they're going to manipulate the emotions of the child to pull the child down so that the narcissistic parent can take credit for things. They lack boundaries. They're not interested in their children's personal space. They will invade their child's personal space. Yes, we can all walk into a child's bedroom without thinking, without knocking first when they get to a certain age. However, a narcissistic parent will, if they hear you on the phone, they will barge right in there so that they can hear what's going on. They will happily have trackers on your phone under the pretense that it's for the child's best interest, when it's not for the child's best interest. It's not to make sure the child is safe. It's so the narcissistic parent can keep tabs on their children. They will do things with their children and then tell their children to keep it a secret from others, yet they will expect their children to inform them of absolutely everything. They will happily go through their children's diaries. They will happily go through their children's phone rather than respecting their children's privacy. Yes, there is a fine line here, and depending on the age of children, sometimes and what's happening is a circumstantial thing. However, with a narcissistic parent, it's a selfish thing. It's about knowing everything. It's about being in control. It's not about going through their child's diary so that they can best support whatever their child's going through. It's so that they can go through their child's diary so that they know everything and they can usually use what's in their child's diary against their child. They will intercept personal communication between people, so the child hasn't got the freedom of speech, and it's all done so the narcissist can assert control over the child, and the child often loses how to create healthy boundaries because they've constantly had their boundaries walked all over from a very young age, so they don't learn how to develop those healthy boundaries. They usually end up becoming people pleasers for fear of reactions from a narcissistic mother. There are lots of different signs of a narcissistic mother. These are just some of the most shocking habits of a narcissistic mother. So any you notice, please do add those into the description, into the comments for people reading through. Thank you very much for all the returning subscribers and your continued support with the channel. It's greatly appreciated. If you are new to the channel, I'm Elizabeth Shaw. This channel is all about narcissistic behaviour to give you more understanding of the people you might be dealing with within your life, how to handle yourself around those people if you cannot go no contact, and different methods to find what works for you to help you understand and overcome narcissistic and emotional abuse. If you do find the information helpful on the channel, please do subscribe. If you are looking for further help and support in understanding and overcoming narcissistic and emotional abuse, I do have several online guides available, and those teachable links are in the video description. If you're looking for someone to speak to, I have partnered with BetterHelp, and their sponsored link is also in the video description. I do also have 2 books out, a Narcissists Handbook, which is an ultimate guide to understanding and overcoming narcissistic and emotional abuse, and 15 rules to deal with narcissistic people if you cannot go no contact. Both of these are available on Amazon, and I shall link those into the description also. Go out there and create the day that you deserve, because you do deserve to have an amazing day. Bye.